not enough. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, it means that we have to examine what being vegan means to all of us individually. Does it mean that we just don't eat animals, we don't consume dairy? Does it mean that we extend that to that we don't wear any animals? Does it mean that we don't give our money to foundations that fund animal research or cosmetics testing? Does it mean that we stop buying tickets to amusement parks, zoos, and aquariums? Does it mean that you live a fully vegan lifestyle? I hope so, but even living vegan is not enough. I challenge you to consider this, because while living vegan is extraordinary, and we are from the future, we are like aliens who have glimpsed the future and are living the way that we know we need to be. In some ways, it's ultimately a disservice to the animals, ourselves, and humanity as a whole, if we do not use our voices to be vegan animal rights activists. Now, when people hear the word activist, sometimes they think, oh God, I'm way too shy for that. I don't want to force my opinions on anybody else. Well, I've spoken to thousands of people. I've done TEDx talks, I've stripped naked on national television, I've gotten arrested, I've stormed pigeon shoot killing fields, I've done tons of media, I had my own reality show, and I'm probably one of the most shy people you will ever meet one-on-one. So you can be shy and you can be an activist. All you need to do is use your voice to speak out and use yourself as an example on how you are living vegan. It is the only way to sustain this earth. This is literally a matter of life and death for animals, but not just for the animals, for ourselves. Climate change will kill us. It will kill every living being on this planet. There is a clock over our heads, and it is ticking and ticking and ticking and ready to blow up. Animal agriculture is one of the leading causes of climate change and global warming. It cannot be ignored any longer. Consuming animals is killing us, poisoning our bodies with the very thing that is supposed to nourish us. It's destroying our water, our soil, our rainforests, our marine life. All of our oceans are going to crumble, and without the oceans, we will die. Animal rights gives us the way. It gives us the way to full equality for all who inhabit this earth, because no one is free while others are oppressed. Animal rights will help us end world hunger. Animal rights will birth the living of people consciously. And with all of these life-saving, life-affirming benefits for the sustainability of the world, how can we think it is enough to silently live in a vegan bubble? We must use our voices to speak for those who are right now, by the billions, being skinned alive, burned, beaten, starved, electrocuted, terrorized, and degraded. For them, we must speak out. We must use ourselves as role models. We must be examples. We must show their pictures, no matter how hard they are to see, no matter how much our voice shakes when we tell these stories, no matter how much our eyes water, no matter how much we cringe or cause cringing. We must tell their stories. Our government spends $36 billion to subsidize the meat and dairy industry, allotting a mere $17 million for fruits and vegetables. Why is this not newsworthy? We must share what we know. People still buy the spoon-fed lies of the meat and dairy industry, still clinging to their version and their visions of rolling hills and happy cows, frolicking around with their families until they end up on their dinner plates. They don't know that cows are put on rape racks where they're artificially impregnated to create milk meant only for their baby calves, who will eventually become veal. They don't know how long that mother cow will wail for her baby, begging for her until she comes back, which she never will. They don't know how many antibiotics and hormones are pumped into the dairy industry. Is this not newsworthy? Watch the undercover investigations. Share them on social media. Write your emails, send your letters, tag your representatives on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. It works. Find out who your assembly people are. Contact them. Put animals on their radar. When bills come on their desks, they will want to know that the people that they represent care about these issues. We as activists who share the truth, there's no way around it. We will be attacked. The truth is threatening. It threatens the status quo. It threatens where people are making their blood money from. They are trying to silence us already, as we know with ag-gag bills. They are trying to silence us in the media. But we know how to take a punch and keep on fighting. We are steadied by the incredible work of our organizations, the whistleblowers, the undercover investigations, and of course, the fixed eyes of the animals who look to us as their only voice and their last hope. We are so blessed to have our voices to tell these stories. Perhaps we can tell them about a chimp in a Welsh zoo. He went viral on YouTube. He was heartbreakingly filmed, using his hands to sign to people to open the cage, to free him. People in the video, they cruelly mock him, they laugh at him, but the chimp looks focused on trying to be understood. He looks longingly at them, begging them to open the cage. How fortunate we are to have these voices, to tell them about an elephant in India who crashed through a wall, likely in search of food. The small home was suddenly getting demolished, and there was a baby in a crib in this house. Suddenly, the elephant found himself over a crying child. He began to stretch out his trunk to pluck the debris off from what had fallen around the baby. We need to be able to tell these sort of stories to help people make the connection. Or tell them about a parrot named Willie. Megan Howard shared her home with her friend Samantha in Denver. On mornings when Samantha had class, Megan would watch her 2-year-old daughter, Hannah. Also part of the household was Megan's little bird, Willie, a parrot called a Quaker, who became a great mimic. He loved to pretend that he was a cat or a dog or a chicken. He could do a spot-on whistle of the Andy Griffith Show. One day in 2006, Megan was making Pop-Tarts for the toddler, which, by the way, are vegan if you don't get them with the topping on them, and went to the bathroom. Suddenly, she heard Willie going crazy, squawking and squeaking. She heard Willie saying, mama, baby, over and over again. The baby was basically choking on the Pop-Tart and struggling to breathe. Because of Willie and the Heimlich maneuver, this little child was saved. People don't look at animals in that way. Sometimes they just look at them as ornaments, something to dress up on Halloween, or something to put a wig on and laugh at as they walk down the street. We need to have people look at animals as individual, sentient beings. Animals wise beyond their years, wise beyond anything that we know. We can read all of the self-help books that we want. We can read about being in the power of now. No creature on earth, no human, comes close to embodying this as animals. All of our self-help books, we can read them, but all we really have to do is look at the way an animal lives. We can tell them about Lulu, a little pig, a Vietnamese pot-bellied pig, who came to see that her guardian, Joanne, was very sick. Something was wrong with her. There was a health crisis at home. Lulu, sensing something was wrong, began to cry. Then she managed to push open the gate to get to a nearby road. Witnesses reported that Lulu the pig would wait until a car approached and then calmly walk out onto the road and lay down in front of oncoming vehicles. When a driver failed to stop, Lulu would get up, return to Joanne to check on her, then leave again, try to summon help. After about 45 minutes of doing this, the determined pig finally managed to persuade a young motorist to stop and follow her into their home. Joanne got help, and Lulu became a national hero. This is our bacon. This is what we pollute our bodies and the earth with. A little being that saved a life because she is an individual. We have to use our voices and our power to vote for candidates most likely to empathize with animals. Politicians often do have a soft spot for animals. Don't think that they don't. Just recently, I heard Hillary Clinton telling Ellen DeGeneres the story of a friend of hers in Africa who was having a cocktail party overlooking a pond. He told all of his guests to gather outside at dusk because a family of elephants typically came to feed at the pond, and they would surely come to drink and bathe in front of them. This was not something that he thought that they would want to miss. Sure enough, at dusk, the family of elephants came, and the matriarch stopped and looked at all of these guests out on the veranda. She walked up away from her family, closer to this party. Everybody got nervous because when a giant elephant approaches you, it can be a bit unnerving. But the host said, no, they're friendly, just be calm. Well, a woman was standing there. She had no idea that the elephant was coming for her. The elephant reached out her trunk and wrapped it around the wrist of one of the partygoers. She pulled the wrist closer to her and looked her deep in the eye. The woman was wearing an ivory bracelet. This story told by Hillary Clinton just might change the world. Veganism has gone mainstream. Meat consumption is continuing to drop here in the United States. Animals are ready and poised to have their day. Just like the suffragists had their day, just like the civil rights movement had their day, freeing slaves, just like the LGBTQ community had their day with marriage equality. The world is not perfect, not for any of these social justice movements, but there is progress. Animal rights is progressing, but not fast enough for the animals who languish behind vivisectors' cages, not for the millions of healthy, adoptable animals who will be euthanized without ever feeling a warm touch or sleeping in a comfortable bed, not for the farm animals who are tortured to make us sick and overweight, not for the circus animals who live in terror, not for the dolphins who are being driven into the bloody cove in Japan so that people can see them perform 6 tricks for food, not for the carriage horses in New York and in other cities, not for the horses in rodeos or race horses, and the list goes on and on and on. It will be because of our voices. We must commit ourselves to the cause of animal rights. If everyone here is veg curious, join us and go vegan. If you're pescatarian, go vegan. If you are living vegan, then become an activist. There is room for all of us to be activists, whether it's from your couch or in front of people speaking at a supermarket or in front of millions of people using the media. There will be a time when animal rights get their day. The time is coming. We can feel it. But why allow billions and billions of animals to suffer until we get our SHIT together? We can do it. We can free the animals until every cage is empty and every tank is drained. Thank you.